And with controlled remote viewing, it is a science. There is a step-by-step process, and at no time in the process do you ever lose control. There's always the next step. You always know what to do next, and there's always something where you are in control and you make it happen.
Natural ability, it seems, when I mean by natural ability, it's like given to them.
Yeah, I'm not a strong natural psychic, and so, I'm more of a science nature, and so having that step-by-step process, telling me what to do, and letting me do it under my own control, that works for me. For a person who has a lot of natural ability, maybe they don't need the remote viewing training. And here's another aspect. A lot of people who are natural psychics and are actually kind of good at it, they may not need the training. They've just heard about it. They've heard, that it can help them. And about one class a year that I teach is for natural psychics who are good and who can prove that they can do it. And what I teach them is not the remote viewing, but the control. And so I take the controlled remote viewing, I dump all of the remote viewing stuff, and I teach them how to control their natural abilities. And the results that come from that, I watch them afterwards do their work. And to be honest about it, when I watch them, I think, on my best day, I could never do that well. A good natural psychic who has tons of talent and who has the control over it, they don't need to learn this military method. I mean, they just, we can't hold a candle to them. And
it just helps them make their abilities that much stronger.
Yeah, that's right. But for the average person, it's going to take the natural ability that you have and give you control over that. And if you don't have tons of natural ability, let's say you can describe a target, and you're wrong on everything but the colors. But on the colors, you're close to 100% accurate every time you mention a color. It's there. It's real. Then you don't have a great remote viewing ability. You don't have a great amount of psychic ability, and yet, if we want to know the color of the getaway car or the colors that are on a flag of the country that we think is going to attack, we don't know, hey, we can use you as a remote viewer. And so you don't have to be a good psychic to be a good remote viewer and a useful remote viewer. But when you combine the two, it is phenomenal to watch. It really is. But anyway, if a person is very limited for money, I would recommend the Hawaii Remote Viewers Group, and I think their website is hrvg.org, not .com. Now, my wife is ill and has what's evidently a degenerative problem. And so what I'm doing is I'm kind of curtailing my classes, and I'm going to start, I'm in the process now of programming online classes so that people don't have to pay the airlines thousands of dollars to get here and all that. And so that's going to make it much more affordable for people. It will be personalized training because I'm not going to give that up. It's necessary. But I'm developing online classes, and that's going to help financially a lot of people. But for those who just cannot afford it, the training with HRVG, Hawaii Remote Viewers Group, is very good training. They're honest people. They're not out to bilk anybody, and they do a lot of good work.
Well, that's good that they know the real value of something like this rather than, Anytime something good is handed down, someone always finds something sinister to do with it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
thank you. Yeah. It's sad, but it's true. Thank you for your answer.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pass this on to Jules.
Okay.
Okay, Lyn, we just only got a couple more questions left. The first question we had, Lyn, was in a previous interview you mentioned that when people remote viewed aliens, they often came out as women or dogs. Could you tell me why?
Yeah, because people want to identify, and they get a descriptor of something that is small, let's say the size of a large dog. They're going to immediately jump to the conclusion it's a dog. Well, then they will say, okay, this is a dog, and man, this thing is ugly. It's got a big head. It's hairless, and all this, and they will go ahead and describe the physical attributes, and yet they're interpreting this as a dog or as something like that. Small, therefore it must be a woman, and it's like Ingo said, it's all in the perceptions, and your interpretation of what you're seeing is what you actually perceive. And so it's not that we see them as women or dogs or something like that. It's that we jump to a conclusion of they're small, therefore it must be a dog, And that's the logical mind, the conscious mind getting in there and trying to say, ooh, I know what it is. And the conscious mind will mess you up.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Another one was obviously this in 2011 and 2012, there's a lot of talk about the rapture and a lot of talk about ascension and things like that. I was wondering if you've ever remote viewed that and what you thought of that.
The fact is that no, I haven't. That sounds like an interesting project, doesn't it? All of a sudden you've piqued my interest. But no, I haven't been tasked with that. And so I'm afraid I don't have an answer at all.
Fantastic. Just one more last question. We obviously the forum was built around the principles of following a gentleman's work by the name of Cliff I, who's has a WebBot report. And I was wondering if you're familiar with the WebBots.
Sorry, what was the name?
Cliff I. He's got a technology called the WebBots. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the WebBots.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with WebBots. I've never named before that.
Okay. Basically, the principle behind the WebBots was that everybody is psychic, and people, whether they have control of it or not, they leak it unintentionally through their subconscious in the things they do, and also the words they use. They use certain words for certain situations because I guess the subconscious just leaks it out. And I was wondering what you thought of that premise.
Okay. My battery is going, and I just lost you there for most of that question. The premise was what?
The premise is that everybody is psychic, Lyn, and that people leak that psychic impressions, possibly of the future, in the words they use and in the behavior they do, etc. What do you think of that premise?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely true. I think that I have never met anyone who hasn't had at least some psychic ability naturally. Now, most of us ignore it or explain it away or even deny it. But those things are going to come out in your words. And in fact, there's a lot of study now about reverse speech. And we have found that in reverse speech, information will come out about a target when we're doing a session that is very appropriate to the target and is something that you don't get in your normal remote viewing session. It's your subconscious mind coming through and added more information to it. And so, yeah, it does come out in your speech.
Thank you for your time tonight, Lyn. The Greek philosopher Herodotus wrote, "All men's gains are the fruit of venturing. Life boils down to taking risks in the face of challenges. And as these times become more challenging, tools like remote viewing and advice from knowledgeable people become all the more valuable for many that attempt to navigate these challenging times ahead of us.
Oh, yes.
On behalf of Fox, yes.
And interesting, like you wouldn't believe, I had the greatest job in the military.
I'm sure you did. On behalf of Fox and all the members of the WebBot Forum, thank you, sir. In our tradition of pie loving and pie making, may you and your family have many pies to come.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lyn.
Bye-bye.